On today's episode, we're taking a first look at the brand new adventure module for Dungeons & Dragons, The Tomb of Annihilation.
Hey there, nerds. I'm Monty Martin.
And I'm Kelly McLaughlin.
And we are the Dungeon Dudes. So today we are taking a first look at the brand new hardcover adventure module for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. It is called The Tomb of Annihilation.
I myself am very excited for this campaign. When does it release?
It actually comes out in your favorite local game store. We picked it up on September 8th, but it is widely available on September 19th, 2017.
And what level character would you need to start running the campaign?
So you can start it for first level characters, but interestingly enough, Tomb of Annihilation lets you start as either a 5th level character or as 9th level characters, with different level ranges in between there, covering as high as 11th or 12th level.
Awesome. Let's dig in.
I'm really excited about this one.
Me too. The brief reading that I did on this, it sounds like right up my alley. It sounds perfect.
Yeah.
Could you give us a brief synopsis of what the idea of this campaign is?
Yes. It has a great premise to start off. So, in Tomb of Annihilation, the entire world has been afflicted by the deadly death curse. The death curse causes any of those who have been previously resurrected or brought back from the grips of death to begin wasting away. It's almost as if death itself is slowly clawing away as bits of their flesh fall off their bodies. So they have a limited time before the curse has fully taken them over and they die once more. Furthermore, characters can no longer be resurrected from the dead anymore. Their souls are held in the grip of a mysterious artifact which all magic has indicated is hidden somewhere in the jungles of Chult in the Forgotten Realms.
Oh, that sounds intense.
Yeah. Now, of course, if you're not interested in the Forgotten Realms, the module is adaptable to other settings like Krynn, Eberron, Greyhawk, and even your own homebrew setting. Any sort of world in which you have a vast, trackless jungle which features ancient civilizations, hordes of undead, and lots of pirates as well is a perfect place to set the adventure.
Who would enjoy this campaign? Like, what's kind of the mood and vibe? Is it more like horror, or are we talking like action-packed?
Yeah, so Tomb of Annihilation has, from what I've read about it so far, it has kind of two big parts to it. The first bit of it is a survival horror jungle expedition. You're going to be going into a jungle that is dangerous, trackless. It is filled with dinosaurs. Yes. It is filled with zombies. It is filled with zombie dinosaurs that vomit up dinosaurs and zombies. It's crazy. And so the first entire wing of that campaign focuses on actually finding the source of the death curse in the jungles of Chult.
Would you say that this campaign is high difficulty, low difficulty?
Extremely. The jungle is a completely unforgiving environment, and the dungeon master is encouraged, it says actually, let the players run into whatever they run into, and it is their choice whether they want to fight or whether they're smart enough to know when they need to run away.
So you have a campaign here that basically nullifies resurrection, and you're putting them against a jungle of horrible monsters.
Yes. At the juicy center of the jungle is a deadly Deathtrap Dungeon. So the campaign has this wonderful wilderness exploration component to it, where you actually have to track your exhaustion through the jungle. You have to make sure that you're drinking enough water, that you're not getting lost. And then when you finally find the source of the death curse, there is this fantastically deadly death trap of a dungeon.
So it's very much a horror kind of setting.
Yeah.
Jungle expedition.
And that's actually where the campaign is really, really moddable, because if you have a group that is completely not interested in the jungle expedition part of the campaign, you can start them at a higher level and reveal to them the secrets of the jungle, and they can just go right to those locations and start exploring them in sort of a dungeon crawl format.
Awesome. Are there any additional player options presented in this campaign?
So Hate to be disappointing, there's really not much. There's a lot of advice on how to create a character that has an interest in exploring the situation. Like it suggests maybe one of your relatives is affected by the death curse, so you're in a race against the clock to save them. Or maybe you grew up in the jungle. But aside from a couple ways of taking existing backgrounds and a few new backgrounds and traits, there's no real player-facing options. There's a handful of new magic items in the book, but all the magic items are of the, like, this is a very dangerous artifact that has major ramifications for the campaign scale. These aren't like your, here's a magic sword that you could use for any sort of character. If your players get their hands on these artifacts, it's really going to change the campaign.
Although that sounds fitting for a campaign of this sort. What about any spells or anything like that?
There's no new spells. There's a lot of brand new monsters. And a few... one of my really favorite things about this is that the Tomb of Annihilation adventure makes use of a lot of monsters from Volo's Guide to Monsters. So if you've been itching for an opportunity to use the creatures that you got really excited about in Volo's, you can use them in Tomb of Annihilation. And there's a few new creatures as well. Of course, the adventure is not complete without the wonderful Acerak, who is also featured on the cover of the Dungeon Master's Guide. He makes a cameo appearance in the module, and his stats are in here, and he is a absolute monster.
Is he kind of the big bad of this campaign?
It's more correct to say, so not to spoil too much of it, it's more correct to say that Acerak has sort of set things in motion. But Acerak is one of these villains that is bigger than one campaign.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So, all in all, this is a very intense, difficult jungle expedition horror campaign about a curse that is affecting all of the world of D&D, which by the sounds of it, in the world of D&D, resurrection is a major part.
Yeah.
And so to take that away from a world of magic, that can be really intense.
Yeah. There is a desperate, macabre ritual that you can discover that will allow you to bring back one of your companions, but you might not like what you find.
Well, that just sounds exciting.
Yeah. So, having heard about Tomb of Annihilation, what kind of character do you think would rock this campaign?
I mean, with a jungle expedition, I think that if I was playing a character, I would probably go with something like a druid or a ranger. You mentioned like exhaustion rules and drinking water. I feel like playing a heavily armored guy trying to trudge through this jungle is maybe not going to be the best choice.
The jungle is hot and humid, and all characters need to drink twice as much water as they normally need to. It's even more if you wear heavy armor.
So light characters that can navigate the woods is probably going to be your best bet if you're looking for one that's going to fit into this campaign well. You
mentioned a druid too. The campaign features a whole range of exotic monsters and dinosaurs. So for you druid players that have a DM that's like, you've never seen a dinosaur, you can't polymorph into a T-Rex. We have a T-Rex.
And we all know that polymorphing into a T-Rex is the greatest. Well, at least I think so.
It's the most awesome thing. So I'm really excited about this module. There's some really cool player handouts as well in it. Great details detailing the locations. One of the early parts of the campaign sees your player characters having to choose one of 10 jungle guides, all of which who have their own personalities, side quests that you can embark on, and different pros and cons. Not to spoil anything, but some of the jungle guides may betray your party if you do not treat them well. So watch out.
That sounds awesome. So that is the Tomb of Annihilation. First look.
Yeah, highly recommended. I would say with the Tomb of Annihilation, if you're an intermediate to expert DM that wants a really awesome module that you can sink your teeth into, that is inspired by classic D&D adventure modules like Dwellers in the Forbidden City and the Tomb of Horrors, this is the perfect adventure for you. If you're a brand new dungeon master, you might want to check out something a little bit more straightforward at first, because this campaign really relies on your players being extremely brave and extremely driven right off the bat. It is so open-ended and so dangerous.
So, Tomb of Annihilation sounds like it's going to be a pretty intense campaign with difficult challenges, a lot of really interesting and intense monsters and villains, some cool ancient ruins, jungle horror settings. It just sounds like it's a good time.
Yeah, and the book itself is really well organized for Dungeon Masters with a pronunciation guide, tons of handouts for players, and really all the tools that you need to successfully run the module in a really logically and well laid out format. It's a really huge improvement over the previous modules in terms of layout and organization. That said, I would consider this an expert level module for a Dungeon Master because a beginner DM might find that the tools provided, that while they are clear, it is a lot of information to take in. So that's our show on the Tomb of Annihilation. So players, if you are interested in creating a character to embark on the jungles of Chult, you might need to make more than one for this adventure. So check out our videos on how to make a D&D character right over here.
And if you're a new DM looking for a campaign that's a little bit easier to run, you can check out our video on the Lost Mines of Fendelver right over here.
You can support our show as a patron by following the link right below.
Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss an episode.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time
in the dungeon.